The 3-2 pitch to De La Cruz. Here it comes. Swing and a miss. He struck it out. And the Cardinals win it in 10. Fernandez picks up the save. 2 strikeouts in the bottom of the 10th inning, including Elly De La Cruz to end it. Nice win for the Cardinals. Terrific moment for Fernandez. And that's the Fernandez that we saw a season ago.
It was a nice win for the Cardinals this evening. For a second straight day, they're able to come up with some late runs to break ties, and they end up winning the game tonight in 10 innings over Cincinnati by a 7-5 score. Welcome into the Extra Innings Show. The Extra Innings Show is being presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. If you want to get in contact with us, multiple ways for you to come along for the ride. You can call or text 314-436-7900. That's 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. Or for those of you who are watching the show on the video stream, you can just leave a comment in the chat and we will get to those as we go along. This is a fun game. Second straight day the Cardinals have played a fun game. That win yesterday, wins, I guess, are always fun, but when I make a point to say a game is fun, it is about how just the game plays out and the enjoyment of it. I thought yesterday's game against the Pirates was like that, and I think today's game was too. And this game certainly had chapters to it. The first 3 innings were all about runs being scored and home runs being hit. And then the middle 3 innings were really more about what the pitching was able to do. And then as you got from the 7th inning on, it was about the teams, trading punches back and forth. And the Cardinals happened to land the biggest punch in the top of the 10th inning when they scored the 2 runs. Mason Wynn was fantastic. 2 strikes, doesn't matter. He did that. That's been part of his career. Really good 2-strike hitter. Showed it tonight, going 3 for 5, drives in 3, comes up with a couple of the biggest hits in this game for sure. That was good to see. Good to see home runs hit from Ivan Herrera and Pedro Pajes. A couple guys who end up getting lifted in the game for pinch runners. They were each having nice games, a couple hits each, and home runs. Matthew Liberatore, I thought he talked about this a few moments ago for those of you who are listening on the network post-game, how it feels like he has taken another step forward. I think it looked that way. I think it looked, it's not huge steps, but it's steps nonetheless. And the fact that Liberatore was able to throw 88 pitches tonight, he was able to pitch into the 6th inning, even though he doesn't get an out in the 6th. 3 runs in 5 innings, held velocity longer than he's been holding it recently. There are certainly some positive things to take away from Liberatore for sure. The bullpen, little hit or miss tonight. But even somebody like Gordon Graceffo, who's charged with the blown save and gives up 2 runs in an inning and a third, after he gave up that first run, he struck out 3 in a row. And if the Cardinals would not have been in the tough bullpen situation they were in tonight with a couple key guys down, I'm not convinced that Graceffo comes out for that second inning of work. Matt Swanson, I tweeted this earlier tonight. Matt Swanson pitched in a AAA game 35 days ago. It was one of those situations where he got used, a certain amount at the big leagues, and he wasn't going to be available, and they needed a fresh arm, so they did the send him down thing. But 35 days ago, just over a month ago, Matt Swanson was a AAA pitcher, and you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody in the bullpen right now who's pitching better than him and is more important in what he's able to do. I mean, there's a few guys, Kyle Leahy, Riley O'Brien, JoJo Romero. I'm not saying Swanson's the only guy, but to think about the importance of a Matt Swanson right now and to know that he was at AAA 35 days ago, it's notable. And then, Ryan Fernandez, I'm happy for Ryan Fernandez. And one of the last time, maybe it was the last time Fernandez pitched, the last time Fernandez struggled for sure, we were doing this show and I was getting messages all over the place about how Fernandez has no business being in the big leagues, that the Cardinals need to move on from him, yada, 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 yada. And I stuck up for him. I didn't run away from the fact that he has struggled this year. The numbers are what the numbers are. They're not good. Even with his innings scoreless tonight, he's got a 7.65 ERA. It hasn't been good. But the underlying stuff for him is really good, and he has a little bit of a track record from what he was able to do last season. Fernandez is not a guy you throw away. Fernandez is a guy who has the ability and the potential to be a really, really good major league pitcher, a guy you can trust in close and late situations. For whatever reason, it hasn't worked out for him this year. And, one night, one outing doesn't fix a tough season. I'm not saying that, but in a season where right now it feels like enjoying the moments is as important as anything else, I enjoy the moment on behalf of Ryan Fernandez as he was able to go out and have a really important inning, doesn't give up a hit, does walk a guy, but has 2 strikeouts. So that was certainly good to see. 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me as well. Teresa sends in a text message, says, that was a great game. Win was hot tonight. Kudos to the pitching, the defense, and the offense. I enjoyed the heck out of the game. Yeah, I think you mentioned the people who had big games. This was a very enjoyable game all the way around. Cardinals do get the 7-5 victory. And I went through it. And the other thing I would mention real quick is I'm really happy to see that even in a season where it looks like this team is going to be done after 162 games and where they lost key pieces at the deadline where the team sold off, they haven't mailed it in. That doesn't mean it always looks good at the end of games, but they clearly haven't mailed it in. If they would have, they wouldn't have won yesterday. They would have, they wouldn't of won today. So you, at the very least, you appreciate the fact that, yeah, maybe that's what the minimum that you need to expect out of professional athletes who are paid to go play. Like I'm always like, I kind of pump the brakes on this one a lot because I don't want to glorify too much just trying, but there is something to be said about this team not giving up, always, more often than not, always just too strong, but more often than not putting together some really solid at-bats late in games, whether they're tied or whether they're trailing. So that's good to see. Jason sends in a message, says, key part this last month have been the setup guys, and we've seen some solid options. A closer will come out of it in time. A fun time fan to see it play out. Yeah, Jason, I appreciate that attitude. I really do. Because I don't think a lot of fans are saying this is a fun time to be a fan. And it's not in the sense that this team isn't headed to the playoffs. It's not in the sense that this team is under 500. And there's nothing wrong with setting expectations higher than what the team is playing to right now. That's totally valid. But you can be disappointed about the record, about a bunch of things going on in the organization. But at the same time, you can enjoy the development of players and watching what's going on with some of these bullpen pieces. And one of a Riley O'Brien or a Matt Swanson or somebody else might be the next closer for the Cardinals. Cardinals have a pretty good track record at finding closers who perform at a pretty high level. And I would suspect Cardinals will go into spring training next year and not much is going to be defined in terms of who the closer is going to be. And I would say the season is likely to start that way. And then organically, it's going to develop where somebody emerges as the closer. And to Jason's point, and I agree with Jason, I think there's a very good chance that's going to come from this group that we are seeing perform at a pretty high level right now. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll continue to take your comments, your phone calls, however you want to get in contact with us. 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. Tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, or leave a comment on the chat in the video stream. The Extra Innings Show presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
When life happens and you need to sell your St. Louis area home, call trusted realtor Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria is St. Louis's real estate expert with more than 22 years of experience and expertise, helping you sell quickly and for the most money.
Selling your home can be so stressful, especially if life happens, like a sudden job change, a passing of a loved one, or a growing family. Knowing exactly how much your home will sell in today's market is the first step. Then I back it up with an upfront written guarantee. My guarantee is simple and easy to understand. If I can't sell your home at our agreed upon price and time frame, I'll buy it myself.
When life happens, the name to remember is Gloria Liu, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I strongly suggest you call her right now at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we are more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. From startups to established businesses to estate plans, we are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. With offices in Missouri and Illinois, you can conveniently visit us today at sandbergphoenix.com. That's sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Now, back to the Verizon Extra Innings Show.
Mason Wynn trying to extend the Cardinals' lead. The runners go. The 3-2 pitch is hit sharply up the middle. Base hit! Mason Wynn does it again! Scoring from second base is Contreras, and the Cardinals lead 7-5. His third hit with runners in scoring position tonight.
7-5 would be the final score. It's the Extra Innings Show here on KMOX, the Extra Innings Show presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Welcome back into the program. If you want to call or text, the phone number is 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. Tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, or leave a comment in the video chat for those of you watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, like Sam, who says, I thought that Matthew Liberatore battled today getting into the sixth inning for the first time in a while. It wasn't the prettiest, but it was a step in the right direction. I would absolutely agree. I'm sure there's a few pitches in there that, and he said it himself, there's a few pitches in there that he would like to have back. If he doesn't throw them, the night looks that much better, but clearly a step in the right direction. And, you know, for somebody like a Matthew Liberatore, where he has been extended out so much further this season than he has in previous seasons, for me, the key on Liberatore, I want him to produce at a high level. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying it's okay if the numbers aren't good at the end of a game. But in many ways, the more important thing is for him to survive this next month, for him to take the ball every fifth day, and for him to go into the offseason healthy, coming off a year where he pitched an appropriate amount of innings for a major league starting pitcher. So his body recovers in the offseason and he gets set for spring training, and hopefully he doesn't have that bump in the road next year the way he had this year. Text message comes in from our guy Ball Game. Oh, this is nice. So for those of you who don't listen every night, Ball Game always sends in and he gives a tip of the cap and raise of the glass. And this is a little bit different tonight. It's a little embarrassing for me, but it says, I'm not going to lie. I got off work early today, took my girls to dinner on a patio with no TV, so I wasn't able to watch or listen. Going to give the tip of the cap to you, speaking to me, Matt, for what you do. Bring it to us on postgame, and a raise the glass goes to the families out there that might gather on a patio this holiday weekend for baseball. This game brings people together, and it's always nice to talk baseball wherever we gather. That's a very nice message. I appreciate that. And, you know, the family part of this, like as a dorky dad of two daughters, like my oldest daughter is 6, and if the game is on the TV when we're home, she wants to know who's winning, and she gets a kick out of going and looking at the score. And when I see her in the morning, one of the first things she does is ask me if the Cardinals won the night before. So that's it's, you know, I think of my dad and him taking me to Cardinals games and seeing him score games and everything. And now my daughter seems to be developing an affection for the game of baseball. So the family part of it absolutely is fun. So that's a nice sentimental message right there. And certainly do appreciate that for sure. That was very nice. Back into some of the baseball talk. Let's see. So, text message comes in. Sorry, I always mention this. We have a texting system where when you send long text messages, it's like putting together a puzzle. Says, appreciate you and all the other folks bringing us the Cards news through all the ups and downs. We're pretty lucky as a fan base. I got to see Yachty and Waino tie and break the battery record, and my kids got to see Pujols' grand slam all within the last few years. Love seeing young talent succeed. I believe they will grow well, and I believe that's Brent who sends in them. We're in a positive mood tonight. I like this. A very positive feeling around after this win tonight. That's not the vibe that we always have here on this show. So as we start to wrap things up here on a Friday night going into a holiday weekend, I appreciate the fact that there's so many positive vibes after, again, what was a good game. You can be disappointed about the season. If you're listening right now, you probably are disappointed about the season. 99.9% of people are disappointed about the way things have gone this season for the Cardinals. That's a very obvious sort of thing. But if you listen to me a lot, you've heard me mention this a few times lately. I'll continue to mention it. I'm not breaking any news here. This team is probably not a playoff team. It would take a miraculous. Right now, they have a 0.7% chance of being a playoff team. So it's just not that the door is 100% closed, but it's 99.3% closed. They're 6.5 games back right now. So you need to gain a game and a half every week. You have to jump multiple teams. And you've got a Mets team that just went through a lull and they've come out of it. They scored 19 runs tonight. I don't think the Mets are going to give this thing up. I don't think the Reds are going to be a playoff team. I don't think the Giants are going to. The teams that are currently in those playoff spots are the teams I think are going to be there in the National League when all is said and done. So if you can be accepting of that, and you can enjoy games like this tonight that are just aesthetically pleasing, that are just fun games where you get to see some people perform, and then you start to think, what's it going to look like? What's Mason Wynn going to look like as he continues to develop? He's still a really young guy, and he's got that knack for big hits. And, oh, yeah, by the way, he's arguably the best defensive shortstop walking the face of the earth. And when you think about the defensive value that goes along with shortstop, you can make the argument that Wynn might be the best defensive player in all of Major League Baseball, or at least the most impactful defensive player in all of Major League Baseball. You could enjoy those things. Watching Matt Swanson just emerge in front of our eyes as this year has gone along, that's fun. And you start to think, okay, Swanson's been really, really impressive. Is he a guy that could be covering the ninth for this team in the near future? Same thing with Riley O'Brien. Same thing with a bunch of guys. So not that covers the fact that this team does not have the record that you would like to have, and they've lost more games than they've won this year. But it also doesn't mean that there are not some positive things going on. What's on Deck, presented by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have the very best. ChesterfieldFence.com. Game 2 of this 3-game series will come up tomorrow evening. Cardinals will have Michael McGreevy on the mound. The right-hander is 5-2 with a 4.43 ERA. Tough left-hander on the mound. Cardinals struggle against lefties, and Andrew Abbott is just flat good. He's 8-4, and he's got a 2.62 ERA. We'll see what the Cardinals can do against him coming up tomorrow. 5:40 first pitch. That means our coverage is going to begin at 4:45. Certainly appreciate you being tuned in. Fun Cardinals win. Make sure to enjoy the holiday weekend, as we got some messages about spending time with family. I think that's a good idea, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow for more Cardinals baseball here on KMOX.
This is Tom Ackerman. Like an MVP candidate, Chesterfield Fence and Deck, one of St. Louis's top names in home improvement,